Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about one-step and two-step equations. Now they're called this for the reason that one-step equations are problems that you can solve in one step, and to do that you use the opposite operation. Two-step problems are problems that you solve in two steps, hence the name, and you also can do that with opposite operation. So let's see how this gets started. So I'm going to start with one-step problems. So the first step is to identify what type of number, positive or negative, is being added to the variable. So this is for adding and subtracting. We will get to multiplying and dividing in just a sec. So if I take a look at this problem right here, that x wants to be all by itself. It does not want any friends over. It wants to be in its parents' basement playing video games, no interaction with anybody. Now the 7 is being a pest, so we need to get rid of that 7. I see from the sign in front that it's a positive 7. So I see that this is a positive 7. Perfect, I've done my next step. My second step is to use the opposite operation to get the variable by itself. Make sure to use the same operation on either side of the equal sign. So since I have a positive 7 right here, to get rid of it, or to make it go away, I'm going to make it a negative 7. Notice how I'm not putting anything else but negative 7. If you did want to do plus negative 7, that's okay too. Either way, it is going to cancel out because 7 minus 7 is 0, leaving that x. But I can't just do that on one side of the equal sign. Instead, I have to do it to the other side as well. And I know that 9 minus 7 is going to be 2. And look at that. I got my x all by itself. That is a one-step problem. But I am not done yet because I always should check my work to make sure that I have it done correctly. So instead of x in my problem, I'm going to put the number 2. So 2 plus 7. If I did that correctly, that should equal 9. And 2 plus 7 does equal 9. Since I have the same number on either side of the equal sign, I have done this correctly. So with this next coming test, you can know if you have 100% before you even turn it in, as long as you check your work. Now let's look at this problem to the side here. I have x minus 2 equals 8. Okay, my first step, what kind of a 2 is this? I see that it's a negative 2. So I need to use the opposite operation to get that x all by itself. So I'm going to take that negative 2, and I'm going to change that operation to a positive 2. That will create an x all by itself on this side, because negative 2 plus 2 cancel right out. But I can't just do it on one side of the equal sign. So I'm going to do it on the other side. And I know that 8 plus 2 is equal to 10. Great, I have x by itself, but again, I'm going to check my work. And I'm going to plug in 10 where x is. So 10 minus 2 should equal 8. And it does. So I know I have done that problem 100% correct. Now let's look at multiplication and division. So in multiplication and division problems, the first step is to identify what operation is being done with the variable. So in this first problem, I see that 3 and x are right next to each other. I know that that means multiplication. Great. Now I want to get that x all by itself again because it is a loner. It does not want to be by anything. So I'm going to use the opposite operation again to get the variable alone. And I'm going to use that operation on both sides of the equal sign. So I know that this means multiplication. And the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides of the equal sign. 3 divided by 3 cancel right out, and that gets my x all by itself. And 9 divided by 3, I know is 3. Great, I got the x all by itself. And this should look familiar when we were doing our direct variation. But again, I can always check my work. So I should be able to do 3 times 3 to equal 9. And yes, it does. 9 is equal to 9, so I know I did it 100% correct. Now let's look at division. Division is similar to an inverse variation equation. I'm identifying that the x is being divided by 2. Since I have a division problem here, I need to do the opposite operation. And an opposite operation of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides of the equal sign. If I do that, you can kind of imagine that division line extending all the way across. And 2 divided by 2 cancel right out, leaving my x all by itself. And over on this side of the equal sign, 6 times 2 I know is 12. Great, I have the x all by itself, but again, I can always check my work, and I'm going to do that. So if I put in 12 where my x's and divide it by 2, it should equal 6. And yes, it does. 12 divided by 2 is 6, so I know I have done that correctly.